61A, lecture number 19, announcements. Homework 5 is due Thursday. It covers both recursion and trees in the context of iterators and generators. And there's an extra question, which you should really do. I would even call this a recommended question, just so that you can explore all of the ways in which the topics of this course have fit together. Here we have a higher order function and a generator together in one problem. This is definitely within the scope of the course. We didn't make it required because you have plenty of homework already, but I do think it's good practice. The third project in the course, the ANTS project, is due next Friday. And what is this project? Well, you get to build a game. One of my favorite games is called Plants vs. Zombies. And you don't get to build that. Instead, you're building Ants versus some bees, which has basically the same game mechanic. You place various kinds of ants on a board, and then the bees come and the ants try to defend their colony. No real ants or bees were harmed in the making of this game, and I think bees don't actually attack ants. But then again, zombies don't actually attack plants, so it's in keeping with the original game. This is quite a long project, uses all of the ideas about object-oriented programming that we've been talking about recently, and you got to get started this week. Phase 1 is short, but this is really a deadline to make sure that you don't leave everything until next week. Most of the work is in phases 2 and 3, so you should be well toward finishing the project by next Tuesday, and you can earn an early submission bonus point by submitting all 4 phases by next Thursday. On the ANTS project, there's an extra credit problem. Note that we generally do not help students solve the extra credit problem unless there are no other questions to be answered. And the extra credit problem is hard to get your head around because you have to combine what you learned about methods with what you already know about higher order functions in order to get this to work, which is really quite advanced for an intro course. If you don't solve the extra credit problem, that's okay. Lots of students don't solve it, and they do fine in the course. So don't get yourself in a panic about solving the extra credit. But if you do want to see how methods and higher order functions can combine to do something quite complicated in fairly few lines of code, it's a good way to explore that. But I would strongly recommend focusing on the rest of the questions. That's where most of the points are. And since this question comes up every semester, I'll answer it now. If you want the extra credit from the extra credit problem, and you want the early submission bonus point, then yes, you have to finish the extra credit problem by Thursday the 21st. And if you get through the ANTS project and you're looking for something else to do, we do have the completely optional CATS contest going on. It's due the same day as the ANTS project. Spend your time on the ANTS project. Make sure you get that done first. Then you could play around with the CATS contest if you're looking for something else to do. Today's lecture is the second one about object-oriented programming, which introduces a way to relate different classes together. And since that doesn't take terribly long to explain, this lecture also includes some practice of what we talked about last lecture.